Hello everyone. So, this week was a civil protection focused update. However, in many ways it was sort of an all-around RP update due to one of the very significant changes that I added at the beginning of the week and was tested throughout it. Anyone who's been playing on the server recently already knows what I'm talking about, and that is the changes to the movement system and how the world responds to that movement. I altered the movement controls so that instead of Alt being something you have to press in order to walk at a normal speed, you actually press it to speed up. That is to say, I switched fast walking and slow walking's controls. In addition, I also changed the animations for running, so it doesn't just look like this weird kind of fast jog. It actually looks like real running, and it usually fits really well into whatever situation that you're having to run in. Also, scanners and cameras will now pick up if you're running, if you're fully sprinting past them, and they're going to flash you for it, charge you with a very minor fine for promoting communal unrest or public non-compliance. And civil protection isn't too keen on it either. Seeing somebody go at a full sprint down the road is a little suspicious, and so they're usually going to harass you if you're caught doing it. That being said, out of the watchful eye of Overwatch or Civil Protection, you can run around as much as you want. There's no stamina system that limits you, you're not going to burn through your hunger any faster. It's only if you're getting caught doing something that really is a little suspicious to be doing in public. Running around at a full sprint, jumping and climbing on things, trying to get over fences and whatnot. I've noticed that this has changed the pace of gameplay. It's slower and a little bit more thought out. You think about where you're going before you necessarily decide to go there. I've noticed a significant increase in overall RP and a massive reduction in general minjury. I've also seen the population has stabilized a lot more. You don't get bored as easily when you're more in the moment and when you're not in a rush to go from point A to point B all of the time. This experiment, I believe, has been a great success, and so I am going to keep it in the game for now. On top of the general improvements to RP, this also gives civil protection something to do if they see somebody acting suspicious. And when people are running around and acting weird, you want to be able to get up to them and stop them from moving around. And so one of the major changes that I made to complement this was vastly improving how the stun stick is used. So now the controls for the stun stick are very straightforward, and they much more mimic how the stun stick operated in Half-Life 2. It doesn't have that clunkiness of having to hold different buttons down and left-click or right-click to do what you want. If you right-click, you shove the guy. If you left-click, you hit him. A few stuns, and he's actually going to be cowering and protecting himself. This plays well into the rebalances that I made to the handcuff system. An issue before was combat cuffing, just running up to somebody and slapping the handcuffs on, which is how it was in the early days so that CPs could better counter minges. But over time, it proved itself to be something that needed to change so that it couldn't be abused anymore. And so, now, the system has been rebalanced slightly. Now, you have to be behind somebody and they can't be running around if you want to actually cuff them. This makes cuffing somebody in combat nearly impossible, and it's definitely not a go-to strategy by any means. And it also means that there's a reason for you to, turn around and face a wall and not move. So those orders aren't just RP. They're real orders that actually function in the gameplay. In addition, if you're fully stunned, the handcuff system essentially works the way it was before. They can kind of incapacitate you and then cuff you from any angle without having to tell you to do anything. But the stun stick isn't the only part of civil protection that has been overhauled. The entire ranking system is completely different now. No longer does the old ranking system exist of the quote-unquote Half-Life 2 RP game mode. There's no I5 to I1 ranking system. Now it's all based on your rank points, which is something that we know existed in Half-Life 2. They mention it through Overwatch over the radio. As you earn rank points, the system is essentially identical to what you remember, and of course any of your progress has carried over to the new system. However, it's more in line with lore. Speaking of going in line with lore, The civil protection names are now using the taglines, of course, seen in Half-Life 2. So you could be something like Vice 8 or Yellow 6 or Defender 5 instead of CP-3- bunch of numbers. It was difficult to remember, difficult to recite, and it wasn't in Half-Life 2. So it's been replaced, and now it's lore accurate, in addition to being a lot easier to use. Now, a really nice thing about this system is, if you are rank leader, which is what we call people who have maxed out their rank points, it's not an authority position, rank leaders get special privileges. And one of those special privileges is that you can select a preferred tag. So if you like being called Vice 3, then you can say, all right, I want Vice 3 to be my preferred tag. And then whenever you sign up for civil protection, if Vice 3 isn't already taken, then you get it. Otherwise, normal units are given random tags. But it's something that, as a rank leader, you can give yourself a little bit more personal identity to your character. Another thing that really brings out the individual in civil protection, even though you kind of blend in with the crowd normally, is the individual equipment that you can choose for yourself. The new ranking system also includes a new equipment system. Instead of all the equipment just being given to you based on your rank, there's now more equipment available than you can even have at once. You get this equipment using sterilized credits. Now, sterilized credits are not something you earn and then spend like a money or a resource. They're more like skill points. You allocate them to choose a loadout. Some things use a lot of them because they're quite powerful, like the SMG, and other things only use a small handful because they're nice to have, but they're not game-changing overall, something like a medkit or maybe a little extra ammo. You can pick and choose from a list of different things what you want to suit the kind of gameplay that you enjoy. You can be a glass cannon with an SMG and a lot of ammo. You could be a tanky I-4 Chad with the stun stick but no lethal weapon. You could even use anti-fatigue rations to knock down doors and shrug off the damage. There's a lot of different things that you can do to kind of customize your own experience, your own playstyle of civil protection, and it really gives you a feeling of having a lot of control over what you do with your character and the progression that goes alongside getting access to more of these as you rank up. However, one of the things that now you have to keep in mind while you're attempting to rank up is the fact that the Overwatch AI is watching and it's listening to what you're doing. And there are certain things you can do right now which are going to have you get punished by the AI if it sees you doing it. If you're using certain words that are not permitted, if you're performing certain actions that are considered to be unprofessional, or if you're doing things like misusing your firearm and harming other members of civil protection or airwatch equipment. These things are going to automatically result in deductions to your rank points, so you have to be careful. A lot of stuff you used to be able to get away with before, you're not going to anymore. This update has been a revolution for both general RP for everybody, and especially so for civil protection. They're much more intimidating, but they're also a lot more strict. They have more power and more responsibility. I hope you guys enjoy the new changes to Roots.